Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Ariadna. Hi, everybody. We are here to talk about operational reputation and the CORE2. Thank you to my amazing guest to be here. Before explaining you what the CORE2 is, I ask you to briefly present yourself, and then we can start with a great shot. So, who wants to start?
Well, I can start.
Yes, please.
Right. So I'm Paul Tolchinsky, and I'm a consultant who now for 40 years, and I have been consulting around the world to different corporations and companies, big and small, in many different industries. And I'm quite interested in today's topic because I think this whole notion of different ways of imagining currency, all right? Because I think what I think about is, we're moving away from financial currency, and we need a different way of talking about value contribution and how people are recognized, rewarded, and how they show up individually, right, in the world. And so I'm quite excited about CORE2 as a model and as a framework, and I look forward to having the discussion.
Thank you, Paul. Dawna.
I'm Dawna Jones. I've been working in the field of evolution, company evolution, and for a long time, and I'm really excited about this because the stages for companies to ramp up and really be able to cope with complexity and exponential change, there's no question that's there, is huge. And so there's at least 3 tracks. One of them is the personal potential track. The other one is the decision-making track. The third one is the organizational design track and all of that. And I think this one intersects a lot of those areas, so I'm looking forward to being a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawna. Ariadna.
Hi. Well, I've been doing many things related to, can you hear me? Yes, related to marketing and other stuff, and I finally landed into identity, as I realized that for organizations now, reputation is key to build up identity. So I'm interested in this tool device that you have designed, because it helps organizing the mindset and the mind frame to see and to measure your evolution. So I think it's very interesting, and I'd like to know more.
Thank you very much, Ariadna. Simona.
Hello, everybody. I'm the new one, and really thank you to invite me, Claudia. I'm Simona. I'm working in a third sector NGO, working with women, and in both sides, human rights and economical empowerment. I was working 5 years in Asia on microfinance sector, and actually I'm still part of this NGO in network with other organization and part of the ethical committee of an ethic bank, and I'm also part of I'm inside the Council of Europe as an expert on violence against women. So I'm both. I have a soul divided into rights and economical things that match very much in the reputational identity.
Great, thank you, Simona. Stelio.
So, hi everybody, Stelio Verzera. Just as Claudia, I'm a co-founder of Open Projects. So what we do together is helping organizations in their evolution, briefly. And I'm really interested in this conversation because actually I agree with all that I've heard as being part of a new concept of reputation. So I feel that the core stands like at the crossroad between these very different things, but they have something in common. And in Cocoon we have learned that there is a big difference between what I call the political reputation, so reputation based on what you let others know about you, the operational reputation, which is based on what you actually have done with people, that is the basis to help others evolve. And so this is where the core square stands, and I look forward to hear your perspectives on that.
Yes, I'm Claudia Miligori. I'm a CORE2 project member. I work with organization and people on reputation and identity development, and in building their network and relationships. I asked to these amazing guys to participate today with me this hangout to talk about CORE2, that now I'll explain you, and the importance of operational reputation, that is the reputation that Stelio noticed a few minutes before. CORE2 is a tool for lean reputational development. And in CORE2 projects, we developed this tool to support organizations and people in working in an organic way, in having a lead in working about this topic. So I'll ask you just 5 minutes, but 5 minutes are too much. 3 minutes of your patience to show you what CORE2 is, and then I'll speak with you in a conversation, in a free chat, absolutely. So I share with you my screen. Okay. Okay, this is the CORE2. Do you see it? Can you confirm it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We created it, as I told you, CORE2 project, and it's an iterative tool that allows you to grow up following 4 leading phases in your personal path. As you can see in the circle, the slices are competencies, relationships, contribution, and resonance. Let's start briefly about competencies. In competencies, you are focused to work on what is the sum of your knowledge and your experience. In relationships, you have to identify which relationships are really, really important to you, the connection that help you evolving. Then, in the third quarters that you see in the circle, there is contribution. In contribution, you are concentrated to identify how you can contribute with your knowledge and what you have experimented and learned with other people, sharing your vision and putting your work at the service of others. Because the point is that today we are all part of a community, and we have to help the community to develop. We can't work alone. And in the fourth quarter, there is resonance. In resonance, you have to spread your contribution based on your competencies through your key relationships. So the 4 quarters are all linked, and when you arrive here, again, you start the circle with new competencies, or a new vision, a new level, a new quality of your competencies. There are 2 axes. The oblique axis linking competencies to contribution is the line based on know-how. And the oblique axis linking relationships and resonance is the line based on conversation. And in every slide, there are some questions. You can read in every slide 1 question for you. But this is the third level of the questions that are. The first is, what are your competencies, relationships, contribution, resonance elements with a reputational perspective. And then, among these, which are the real core competencies, relationships, contribution, resonance elements? And finally, how can you improve your core reputational competencies, relationships, contribution, and resonance? Because the goal is growing. Now we move the attention on the right. As you can see, inspired by the Deming Wheel Plan Do Check Act, that is the iterative management method for continuous improvement, every core square slice is linked to a diagram composed of 4 parts. These blocks are specific goals, key activities, key performance indicators, and key learning. The core concept lies in the awareness that you have to prioritize elements and choose the first ones. The words specific and key that you can see in key activities, KPI, and key learning point your attention on the fact that you need to select and concentrate your efforts and energy only in few elements. This is the core square. I think I return to you. Okay. You can see me again?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the most important principles of the core square are 3, or the more powerful principles are focus, value-driven, and waste killing, because you have to prioritize and to work in specific things that you select and you choose your path. I thought about this chart, and I have a theme that I want to, a topic that I want to present you. I have a question to you. For you. It's, in your opinion, what is the most important value that an approach like this principle that we can adopt using this type of tools can bring to people or organizations?
To me?
Yeah, as you prefer.
Yes, to me it seemed very interesting because probably due to the fact that I'm very much more comfortable on a more intuitive level and dealing with unconscious things and helping emerge from a more symbolic way. I'm more focused on the existential areas in organization. Having a tool that's so, apparently, because I haven't tried but I want to, helps you organize tangible things and make it very specific and clear to the others, because to me the magic of the tool is that what we do in a very intuitive way, because due to experience or whatever, it helps others see what you can see sometimes and not get lost and be sure that we talk about the same thing. And also, I guess it helps you focus and keep on track, because it allows you tracking and evolving, and having the same tool that can work again and again and again. I think it's very, very clever and useful. But that's what I think. But I'm really, really willing to try it on me and on others. That's it. Answer?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dawna, Paul.
I think Paul's pointing at me. I think what's interesting for me about the quadrant is, I hear the question, what are your competencies? I seize up inside because I'm the least person able to identify that, and I think that's the value in the conversation, is by sitting around and chatting with other people. In fact, I was walking down the street yesterday with a woman who just left serving at a Dairy Queen. She was the manager of a local ice cream store. and she said, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. And so I think the quadrant walks you through the questions you would never normally ask yourself. And when I read the resonance part, when I listen to that, I mean, the word resonance right away for me signals how does the way you move through the world reach others? What is the vibration that you put out? And when you put that into a collective context in the form of a collective intelligence inside of a company or outside of a company, just on a wider network, with that comes I think a natural sense of whether people are going to come to you or away from you. Are people going to be drawn to you because you have an ethical standard or a high level of integrity? So I know I'm not specifically answering it from a personal level, but when I look at it, those are the dimensions of it that I sense. So basically, asking those questions puts you into the territory of, do I really have to answer that because I'm not sure I even know? And that tells you right away you're going to learn something because you don't know. And there's nothing better than that. It's a good place to start. But as you move through it, it makes you more conscious, more aware of what the interrelationships are between all of these aspects. And I think that's extremely important now, both individually and then at a larger scale organizationally.
Absolutely, Dawna. You told inside company and outside company. It's a very interesting point. Thank you. Paul.
I mean, I certainly resonate with what some of Dawna's saying. And when I looked at the 4 quadrants and I looked at the model, I thought, it's the arrows around the outside, because it's a cycle, right? What you develop and who you become has a lot to do with the relationships that you have. And the relationships that you have help define who you are and who you become, and the contribution that you make to the world and the contribution that you make to those relationships, right, helps build competency. And so as I looked at the model, I thought it's a cycle, and you're continuously moving through this cycle, right? Who you associate with says a lot about what you will become, right? And how you move through that. The resonance one for me was probably the most, I thought, most profound, because resonance is not only does my message connect with others, but I'm able to listen to and take the messages of others in order to build my own competency. And so resonance, I thought, was the deepest level. That's where you actually have impact. And I thought it's what you said I think I wrote myself a note that said it helps create the amplification of your message, right? When it resonates in the world, it amplifies. But it goes both ways, right? Sound waves come back as well. Resonance comes back. And so it's interactive and didactic in that way. So I thought, for me, the competency is always difficult because it's difficult, as Dawna said, to look inward, right? And so I know my experience, but I more define myself by my connections, my community, the people in the world that I relate to and connect to, and then how what I do influences them and how what they do influences me back. So I thought it was the cycle, right? I like the 4 pieces. I think they speak to a generation of people who are trying to think in a different kind of way. And those 4 components, I think, really do that. They change the conversation, and they change the languaging in many ways. So I liked each of the pieces, and I thought reflecting on them is important, but I thought the cycle and the continuous cycle is really where the power of the model is.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, the 4 quarters are all connected, and it's when you are doing a growing path, it's an iterative and a constant work on your evolution, because your operational reputation, it's impossible to build your operational reputation in 1 month, because you need to work a lot on your competencies, to work with people and on relationships, and all the quarters are connected and influence the quarters that comes after.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
The term that I remember seeing in one of the articles was operational reputation, right? And your operational reputation is a function of these 4 things. I mean, first you have to have competency. Second, you have to have relationships. If you can't build relationships, you can't develop a reputation. Third is, if you don't make a contribution, if you don't deliver something, you don't have a reputation. And fourth, if the message that you communicate or who you are doesn't resonate, you don't have a reputation. And so I thought about the operational notion of a reputation as a function of how you manage and operationalize these 4 things in the world. If you only do 2 or 3, maybe you develop some operational reputation, but you certainly don't deliver, you don't build the kind of operational reputation that you might aspire to, right? It requires all 4 of those things.
Sure. Stelio and Simona.
Yeah, it's really interesting what you were saying before, and thank you very much. I'm just thinking, because it's interesting to see the circle that is done in a certain point of the life. And it's also done compared to the commitment of that moment. That means that commitment can change, you know, and it's very linked to the identity of that moment and the commitment of that moment. This is really something really that is coming from inside of a person, and sometimes it's not linked to the or is linked to the what you are working for, or other thing that is coming from other transversal situation. And so it's really interesting to understand. I mean, this circle is really important to understand that it's just a picture of a moment that is in progress, that is in evolution, as you were saying before, and is linked to the commitment of that moment. So what you are feeling that is important in that moment. And so for me it's really important because I'm coming from the no-profit sector. And so also because not always the commitment that you are focusing is the commitment that the organization where you are working is focused, and perhaps is based on this that you are changing also and pushing and positioning the organization where you are, moving forward or moving back. This is the problem, and this is also based on the big frame, and so this is a key point for me in a big organization. And so this is what I want to just say, and it's really much linked to the identity of the person. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to just point out 2 things. One, on a wider perspective, I think that there is a power here in breaking barrier between the links we tend to think of as inside of us and the links that we have outside of us. So there are concepts like competencies that you have to think about, and in this model you cannot think about them without putting them in perspective to the contribution you can make through the relation and in order to resonate. So that breaks a barrier between how we think of something we have inside and how we think about a network. based on value creation that we usually tend to envision outside of us. Actually, this breaks that barrier, making it a single thing. So the value that we create in the connections we're able to create inside of ourselves, connecting different backgrounds, experiences, our different facets of identity, these things are directly projected or even interconnected with the real life relationship we have outside with companies, with people, that kind of things. So you need a network that spreads from inside of you to the outside of you, and it's strongly based on value creation, so on value flows. And as Paul was saying, value or sound in this metaphor, it goes both ways. Once you are aware of which pipes you're able to activate, then you can have this value flow in these pipes. And at each round, you learn to do that better and deeper. So when you finish and you start to resonate, that resonance forces you to evolve your competencies further, and then you start again, and probably at the end these start to spin around. It's like the color wheel, no? When it starts to spin fast, then it's just white. Second thing, which hasn't been pointed here, and I think it's very important, these kind of tools, just like, for example, business model canvas or Lego Serious Play or whatever, are platforms. So these are tools on which you can really develop different kinds of work. And I think a big value is in the kind of work you build on that, especially on the first setup. Claudia has this workshop for setting up inside you and let's say acting, helping you focus the right competencies to start that. And that work is key, it's very important. Otherwise, this is just a sketch. So the work that you do on top of these models, these canvases, these schemes, I think is very important, and it's another topic, an interesting topic.
Yes, Stelio. The first assessment when you start working using CORE2 is fundamental, because you have to extract, before arriving to the CORE2, important concept, important information. You have to be clear who you are, what you offer, what are the benefits that you deliver, what makes you credible, and we try to work in COCOM projects using technique tools that help people to go deep. For example, I work on this assessment using Lego Serious Play or Storycubes, for example, because you need to understand deeply who you are before deciding to go to choose your direction again, your goals and the competencies to develop and start to growing in a more organized way. Because in our life you grow always, but in using some tools that can help you, you have a lead, a guide. Hi, Roxana. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. Ciao. How are you?
Okay. So thank you all for your points of view. Very interesting aspect of the same topic. Another question that I have for you is, in your opinion, this type of tools of principle could have more benefit for a specific type of organization or people, in your opinion? I don't know if I'm clear. Ariadna.
I don't know. I think it doesn't really matter, because now you were talking, and I think that one of the great aspects of this tool, I mean, I try to design all the time tools that help making you aware of what you naturally do in general, but we are not aware because we relate to other people all the time. We share things we know with others all the time. So in fact, these four slices, they are real life for everybody. The difference is the level of awareness on your processes, I think, and how you can work on that and use that as a tool to improve in a certain direction. But to me, what I like of these tools is that they work on is already there and try to get most of what's already there. It's not building on something new, but taking the most of what you have and help you make it grow. That's my feeling. So it can work for everybody, I would say. I don't know.
Okay. Dawna.
I have had the privilege, really, of working with all kinds of organizations, nonprofit, every sector, and they all thought I was an expert, which was hilarious because I absolutely knew nothing about what they were doing. But what I noticed that's the same across everything is that there is, first of all, we're human, but there is also I'm going to call it I don't like the word, but it's almost like a psychology of spirit. There is a certain approach, a mindset that each of these sectors will bring. Like nonprofit sector is a very somewhat, you can almost characterize it to a certain degree, but it's changing, thankfully, and it has been changing for a while. But what that means is that when you walk in the door with a framework like that, like the CORE2, you're going to have, it's going to apply to everybody, but what's relevant is going to be specific to where they're at in the journey. So when you dive deep into each quadrant, maybe for instance in their evolution, reputation will be relevant because how they're connecting with one another is bumpy. It's not working very well. And if there's one thing that is the core aspect of resilience in any organization or in society as a whole or in cities or in whatever the scale, it's the capacity to be connected with one another and to be able to have the most difficult conversations with constructively in a way that produces and doesn't make it personal. So I think that it's a long way of saying when you look at the tool, what's relevant and important will be different, and how deep you can dive into each part of the conversation will also be different. But it's applicable right across the board because of the nature of the framework.
Yes. Who wants to intervene?
I can go. I mean, the last 3 days, I worked with a group of people who were from Austria, Germany, the U.S., Croatia, no, Slovakia, and China. And part of the purpose of the 3 days together was to build a team, right? To build a global team in support of a particular project for the organization. And much of the discussion had to do with these 4 topics. We didn't label them that, right? But it's, what's the individual experience that everybody brings, and what's the collective inventory of it? What's the relationship, and how do we build it in a way that has us each saying, I want to be in a relationship with you because I think you can make a contribution to me, right? Because I think, the contribution in the model is a little bit of what I can do, but it's mostly about what I can do in support of others, right? And so people, the discussion was, how do we not only work individually, but how do we work in a way that contributes to each other, right? Makes us each stronger, makes us each better. And the resonance is probably the deepest level of discussion, because it's how do we amplify what we're doing in a way that has a bigger contribution than any one of the 8 of us around the table. So I think I agree with both. I mean, I think it's applicable everywhere. I think it's really applicable cross-culturally and when you work in a distributed way. I think it has real strength of purpose and usefulness when you're working cross-culturally, because there are cultural differences in how we value each of these four things. And yet it's important to talk about all four if you're going to build a strong community in a group that's going to make a contribution. This particular group happened to be, they're face-to-face now, but they're going to become virtual. And so the question is, how do they translate that and influence each other when they don't see each other every day? So I think it's quite applicable, and probably is most powerful when you're in a distributed, multicultural kind of situation. I think it raises the level of conscientiousness and consciousness that would make for a stronger community of people.
Yeah, if I can just add to that, one of the things that I've noticed is that resonance, that whole aspect of who are we, who am I, and how do I move through the world, and regardless of whether it's in a hole, I'm in a hole in the moment, or I'm not, I'm on top of my game, or I'm well below it, or whatever it happens to be. But it requires responsibility, self-responsibility, and that is also the domain that is testing people now, because as companies are morphing from carrying people to people being self-managed and self-organizing, a higher level of responsibility is required by each individual, and that takes you right into that zone of resonance.
I'm agree with what everyone says, and I think at the same time that of course could be very interesting cross-culturally as an instrument, but also also people that are just at the beginning and they want to go more in deep and find their way. I think that could be useful in any case. So I really think that could be used in a different way with different kind of people. Of course, a different level compared to what you have in front of you. That could be used. At least should be experiment, and after you can tell us.
And in your opinion, this approach, this principle, can make people happier on their work and also in their personal life. I don't know, make them more satisfied, more. I think that you have to feel that you are part of an organization, of a group. So probably a tool and an approach that work on your identity and on the identity of the team, of the group, is important. But how much this approach may contribute to your happiness, to your satisfaction on your work?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go.
Well, the short answer for me is it depends. Because if you're in a company that is a hierarchy where there's a lot of command and control, there's no meaning at all, really. I mean, when did quarterly reports get exciting? There's just nothing there. So conversations like this draw meaning out, make meaning between the people who are working together, and that's at least provides a thread of connection that you won't get by focusing on the mechanics of getting, day-to-day stuff done. So we're meaning-making machines. Really, we're always making meaning out of something. That's the water cooler conversations, all of that. That's where we find meaning. So I think that a tool like this will really be helpful just to continue, just to expand, even if it's just a meaning of a sense of belonging as well. that's big, missing in a fair way from companies that have not gotten a clear sense of purpose beyond making money, which is like not that big a deal. So.
Yes, maybe I could try to add. Going maybe a little against the current here, I don't think this should be tried at home. Sorry, no, I mean that should be tried anywhere. Paul got that, just for all the others said like, what is he saying? No, what I'm saying is that it's not for everybody. I don't think these kind of things are for everybody. I mean, of course, everybody can try, but I've seen just, again, with a simple business model canvas, or even worse, with more complex tools like Lego Serious Play, I've seen different kind of people trying to use them, as all of us have, and it makes a huge difference transforming the tool itself, actually. So I think there are some assumptions between this, specifically this one, which are being aware that creating value has an impact, a systemic impact from any point in a network to the rest of the network, and that enables the resonance. And that network is a network, as I said, that spreads from inside of people to the outside relationships. So if you are not aware of this complexity and the importance of value exchange, actually you will not be able to use these kind of things in any useful way, I think. So first of all, I would say it's not for every situation. On the other hand, I think it's key if you are in that niche, let's say, of people that really understand the importance of value exchange. I think it really helps in align yourself with yourself. So through the interaction with other valuable parts of your network, again, inside and outside of you, I've seen people using this tool, connecting dots inside of them, and then being able to connect those dots outside of them. And that for sure will help your happiness in a wide meaning, wide sense. That it will give you the energy of understanding the flow you are part of in your life and in the relationship that you have around. Give yourself awareness of your position, of being able to really create value at the same time for yourself and for other people. And to me, in my experience, that usually if it doesn't get you happiness directly, at least it points you in the right direction for sure.
There are a lot of ripple effects from having these kinds of conversations, and so they don't have to be direct in order to achieve benefit. And I think that's just what you pointed out, Stelio, is that by just having the conversation, there are places where reflection will take place, or there will be an awakening of some kind on some level for people that would not otherwise, that never would have happened without that alchemic collision of sorts.
Yeah, I think it's I'm listening to this discussion, and I think it what it reminds me of is when you think about what energizes and motivates people, I usually think about three things. One is meaning, which we've been talking about, making meaning, having meaning in what one does, purpose, what will be different in the world because we did something. I think this motivates and energizes people. I think hope, being a part of a community of people who wish for and seek the same things, who you trust to be able to deliver, which I think is about surrounding yourself with the right relationships and the right contribution, right? And then the third is influence, impact, power, right? The ability to actually make a difference in some way, and that's probably the resonance part. So I think it's I don't think it's for. I mean, I go back to the question: is it for everyone? I think there's a generational issue. I think the younger generation is much more in tune with this model and would appreciate it more maybe than a different generation might. But I think underlying it all, energy still comes from those three things. Doesn't matter how old you are, right, or what generation you come from. People want meaning. People want hope. They want to be hopeful, and and in the end of the day, they want to feel like they've made a difference or can make an impact, right, in some way. So, if the tool enables a conversation that accomplishes those three things, clarifies meaning, provides hope, and enables us to make an influence or an impact in a different kind of way, then I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to participate and use it in some way. So I think it's a part of me that says I don't think it's for everybody, but another part of me that says it resonates for everyone if you go below the surface and look at meaning, hope, power, influence, things like that.
I'm thinking also about sector, because I know I've done a lot of work in the construction sector, and they have all those kinds of conversations on tailgates of trucks. So in other words, the approach is going to have a lot to do with how you do it. It isn't always going to be in a workshop room with a chart on the wall. It's going to be something that the intent walks through the door with the setting that they're comfortable with, because they don't, in some instances, particularly in the construction sector, those kinds of conversations don't have permission to run any other place but in the field, because that's where they're the most comfortable. So I think that it requires some adaptation, and it requires some empathy for reaching out to the group the way that they most need to be reached out to. And I use the construction sector because there's a number of levels in that industry, and they're going to be hit hard very soon. Dubai just printed its first 3D building, and I can only imagine what that's going to look like in terms of for the construction sector. So there's a lot of adjustments to be made very quickly, and these conversations are going to be essential in certain sectors that are on the runway for immediate disruption.
Thank you, Dawna. Roxana, do you want to add anything? Because you reached us in the second time.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now yes.
Okay. Hello. So, apologize for joining you late. I'm very interested in the model. I'm not sure it fits with what I will say now with what you have discussed previously, but I feel very lucky to join the conversation and to find out about the CORE2 model. In a moment, I need it in two fields. Actually, I need it for developmental mentoring. We are talking with the mentees. We try to build some bridges between the generations, and the mentees are very preoccupied about their reputation. It's related to the self-confidence, and we try to build self-confidence, but self-confidence is related to knowing about themselves. So I think it could be a good tool to explore themselves and to see if they want to improve their reputation, to see in a very structured manner how they can do it. Of course, being helped and supported by their mentors. So in the moment, I will understand how it works, and I will get some mastery to use the tool. I will use this tool, and I will teach the mentors and the mentees we have in our programs to use it. Another field where I can see it as a good application is the leadership development. But where I'm very interested very soon to try to apply it is in the communities of practice. Last week we have run an event on innovation at the workplace. Your colleague Jacopo was joining us. He was one of the speakers. And in one of the workshops, we have decided that we need to make our country, Romania, to transform our country, Romania, from a modest contributor in the area of innovation to a very important one, at least one European important contributor in the area of innovation. And we'll work in our community, in one of our communities of practice, most probably the organizational design community of practice, will continue to work on a topic which is called re-professionalizing of Romania. So it's very much about getting substance and about enabling people to innovate, but I think it's also about the reputation. And this is how, when Claudia shared with us that document, Google document, my question related to this tool was if I can use it in a collective way. So could it be, could I use it for a community or for a group or only for individuals?
Okay, in this moment, the CORE2 tool is an alpha phase because in our lab system, we used to call and to define the phase of the tool. So in this moment, we are testing, we are validating the tool. We have very good results and very good feedback from the people and the organization who used it, because they obtained a very changed awareness and identity, and they understood how the present is connected to the past, so a continuity in their life, a major sense of their path, and other feedbacks, very good feedbacks. So absolutely, Roxana, we have to, and we want to test in other fields these tools, because it's in a test way, and it's also for this that I ask you to speak about and to have different points of view to use these tools in a better way and in a iterative way. I want to go using better the tool.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Do you have questions?
How can we learn more about this?
I think that the best way to learn is doing. So I'm trying to work using this tool more and more. So I'm collecting feedbacks, and I'm noticing different things that I want to change or adjust. But the design using, for example, for the assessment, language experience, story cubes, and a canvas that we designed. It's called Personal Work System Canvas. For now, it's a very good assessment. And also using the other tools, connecting in synergy with the CORE2, we have very good feedbacks. But we want to try also different things to connect to the CORE2, because the CORE2 is just a tool.
So maybe to connect Roxana's question with your input, Claudia, because Roxana is interested in understanding how to use it, how to know more about it, to use it, and on the other hand, you are experimenting with that. Maybe we can just take an airplane and organize a workshop there with her, so that we meet both goals. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Roxana, I'm crying.
I'd be very happy, actually. As you found out already where Bucharest is, so I invite you all if you want.
Okay. I'm very satisfied of our chat, but if you have other questions, we have other few minutes.
Claudia, I'd like you to tell me a bit, or tell us a bit more about the workshop you've designed and what you're doing with that, what the benefit is for participants.
Yeah, the benefit that I have seen in these people is a growing of their awareness on who they are and where they want to go. People with whom I work. Sorry, I have problem. I have the voice that is returning to me. Oh, okay, now it's better. Thank you. Okay, people with whom I worked, they were lost. They lost the passion, the direction, the desire to be better. And what I obtained working using the CORE2 is a new life, a new desire to be better, to work in an iterative way. So patience, we have to work, we need effort, we need time, we need energy, because if you want to grow up, you need all these things. But the desire to be better and to choose the path, because when you work using CORE2, the competencies, you choose the relationships, you choose the other voices in the quarters. The facilitator and the tool guide you in this process, helping you to define better your priorities, focusing on what is better for you. But the choice is on you.
Are you finding there's a particular group of, like, is there people at a particular age in their career, or who do you find is coming in and becoming attracted to the conversation?
I have seen that the group more interested are, for example, the students that have to decide an important thing that is their future. So they want to understand better what they want to learn, what competencies they want to develop, and try to have a path that in which they recognize themselves. It isn't so banal. But also the professionals who lost their passion in their work, who are not happy in their work anymore, and they want to start from themselves and choosing a new path to evolve and to recognize again and to recognize a path that can nurture them. Because sometimes in our environment, we don't find the seeds to grow. So some people decide to choose their path and go along without the support of their organization, maybe, for example. Or organizations that want to create value, that want to base their evolution on the creation of real value, because the CORE2 is about operational reputation. So you have to contribute really to your community and to create real stuff. It's not about what you say, it's about what you do, and it isn't always so easy.
Yes, I was very interested in what you were saying, because just before now I was having a group, an organization, and we were dealing with this, like competencies, and they want to grow value, they want to be more well known. So I was all the time thinking about the core and thinking that maybe it would be a tool for them. Because regarding what you were saying previously, I think that the fact that you have a tool to track you in a way, it also can provide a sense of security, which helps exploring and getting deeper. And also it makes it easier to share because you have topics, no? I mean, it's like when you have a lot of people together and they don't know each other, if you put them to do something specific, no, it's easier for them to chat. So do you agree with them that now that we know what are their competencies, we know in theory where they want to go, but we'll see, because I think that's something that more or less goes on the move. So maybe could we try to apply that? And how?
It strikes me that it takes it enables you to take the discussion much deeper. Right? I think that's the key to what you're saying, is it enables you to take the conversation much deeper. And if you can do it, Claudia, in the way you're doing it in a facilitated workshop, right? And I even thought about, Stelio, what you're saying about if you bring together the network, right, and have an individual and community exploration at the same time, right?
Yeah.
That would, because I agree with you. I think every individual and every organization wants to make a value contribution, right? And the question is, how do we do that, and what's the contribution we aim to, and then how do we individually and collectively create that value in a way that resonates within and beyond our network?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that when you are in the path or in the CORE2 path, so you start from competencies, and then after you are working a lot on this, go on relationships and go on. Step by step, you have visibility on what you need in this specific moment. As Simona told before, we are speaking of specific moments, because, for example, in a moment for you is important to develop one competencies, but in another moment this necessity may change. And I have seen that CORE2 guide you among these phases, giving you always more and more awareness about yourself and what you want. And the thing that is a circle and it's iterative allows you to be more confident about your choices. It's blocked the fear, in part, because the fear is a big problem, but in part block the fear, because you know that when you start CORE2, it's a circle. You return again, for example, in competencies. So if you have chosen the wrong competencies in this moment, okay, you can change, or you can deep in the competence that you have chosen before. So this approach, this idea that you are doing a path, okay, so you are walking, you are going in a direction, helps you to see and to choose all the elements in which you are immersed.
Just sorry. What I understand that is of course is a tools for an awareness process, and when you were talking about target, so just thinking to whom use this instrument is people that are in a changing moment, in a moments that or are in crisis or are just moving forward, moving in a, so they should choose something and they should focus in their creative moments. So perhaps this is important also, that of course could be not for everyone or could be for everyone, who knows. Just doing, we will know, but what it's coming out is just that it's people that are in a specific moment of their life, that is in a transitional moment. So this is really interesting because often, or you block yourself because you have fear, you are not, so you are just focusing in one part of your competencies, in one part of your network, in one part of your whatever, and this could be an instrument that give you a clear vision of all the opportunity, all the career, all the experience that you have. And so, of course, this is a process of awareness, but also give you strength to go on. So this is really interesting.
And for organizations, that translates into any strategic inflection points. Like, for example, you want to go out with a different set of services or in a different market.
Exactly.
So any strategic inflection point is a very good moment to adopt this. And borrowing from Dawna, I would say that yes, it is an insight instrument, but then it's from inside, it takes you to action. Because all the right part of the model just focuses you on specific goals, which is not simple, and then, you know, specific goals, key actions, and then every quarter work you do ends with key learnings that feed to the next round when you will get back to that quarter in a few months or in a few weeks, depending on the speed.
Absolutely. So I say thank you all, everybody, and have a good evening. Your contribution was very, very important for me, and I hope that it's interesting also for other people.
Thank you, Claudia. That was great fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Claudia.
Thank you all. It's been a pleasure.
Well,
Bye.
take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Ciao.